Is this where we should deviate now and talk about some indoctrination? Who?
Yeah, I think that this seems like a very good time to do it. I would love to hear what Culture.
Good, I could use a snack
about it before he before he has to bow out as well.
Look, this is a great jumping off point. This is a great $10 super chat. The weather was nice. That's one of the terrible excuses that, these different chill outlets are coming up with to try to say, well, it's its debut on early iPlayer debut was not so good in season 14. It was the first to launch early on the BBC iPlayer. In fact, you could probably read almost everything from Radio Times and realize that, they're apologists for what happened to the show. The fact that the show launched its first episode, Space Babies, to a grand total of 2.6 million viewers, and the second episode, 200,000 people chose not to watch from that 2.6 because they only scored 2.4 million in the overnight audience. These are both overnight audience numbers. They don't include views in other places, but these are substantially poor, what do you call it? Retention of your audience retention. And this is bad, right? They're trying to say, well, this is not the whole story. It doesn't include the viewers who watched on BBC iPlayer, which will be more significant than ever due to this season being the first to debut early on iPlayer. Well, do you think we'll see those numbers anytime soon? Will they try to extend it many days so that they can embellish it? Is there a reason why, these are being dripped out? Of course there is. Every time they do this, we know that they have a real stinker on their hands. And again, it says, the figures in this article in the Radio Times, that idea comes from figures are also likely to have been affected by good weather in the UK. That is
I just have to chime in. I think it's really hilarious that in America, whenever you have a snowstorm or rain or something like that and a movie flops, then it's always the weather's fault. Whereas in the UK, it's sunny. That's why it flopped. Yeah, fantastic.
They're right. If you've ever spent any time in the UK, if they actually are lucky enough to get good weather, then, all indoor activities are.
Yeah, I wonder how well that excuse is going to hold up next week when it's back to being gray again.
The question is, what time did this air?
In the middle of the night.
Well,
okay, so the sun was not out in the evening. I don't understand how the UK, works. I mean, do you guys
wait, it was the middle of the night UK time or middle of the night?
I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Like nighttime, I would assume prime time. That was my guess.
Yeah, I don't understand. If this was a regular time, which somebody in the audience wants to drop here, I can't imagine this didn't show up at night. Am I incorrect there? Because that's when the majority of people are available to watch television.
I would imagine that it's in the evening, that it's sometime between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's when this would be on. So it wouldn't be on at like 2 o'clock p.m. It wouldn't be on like 5 p.m. when people are coming out to work, or it was weekends, so people have time off anyway. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't blame Eurovision.
Well,
they're all out protesting the war. Was all of England?
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're all. That's next. Everyone is like out protesting. So yeah.
Well, what's really interesting is during the absolute low period of the bag lady Doctor Who's, they were lamenting that it was only getting 4 to 5 million.
Jimmy Eats Movies said it premiered at 1 or 2 a.m. BST, British Standard Time.
Need that be Greenwich Mean Time?
It says BST.
British Standard Time, yeah.
Yeah. So
anyway, yeah. If it was
what
nice
I'm being
weather,
fed in the background here is that it actually just shows up on iPlayer. I don't know what the hell that is. It must be one of their
the BBC app
at like midnight. And then it premieres at 8 p.m. Saturday night.
Right.
And they did blame Eurovision. And that's the other thing is like, if there's people out protesting, this is that new untapped group that you're trying to get. They're busy. They're all protesting.
They don't
You
have time
dumb
to watch
shit.
this.
I don't have time for this crap. They're saving the world.
So was how good was the weather that at 6:30 or 6:45 at night you weren't
Exactly.
available for
And I
television?
can't even. I don't know how many times I can use a restaurant analogy for this, but here's another one that works. This whole idea of doing this whole thing, going back from the top of our conversation from the last topics and everything going into this. This is like a restaurant going out. Look, we're Burger King. How do we get more vegetarians to eat hamburgers? This is like exactly what they're trying to do. It's like you're trying to tap this audience that is never going to be interested in what you're selling. Period.
Tom, can I continue that analogy? They're
Please.
like, we need to expand our audience to get vegetarians. So therefore, we have this new advertisement. All our burgers now have
Are now
bugs
veggie.
in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's all now grown meat, courtesy of the owner of Amazon who does that stuff with a little bit of bugs on the side. Let's advertise this to everyone. Hey, everyone, come here. It's like homegrown, lab-grown meat with bugs. Now,
The Whopper, not with
I'm
100%
sure
bugs.
the veggies is going to flock to them, and they'll lose 98% of their existing base of people that came to them, and that's exactly what's going on here. They need to capture that 0.3% of the audience. They're very happy to lose 90% of their existing audience to do so. That's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, Chato, actually, I do remember this. And you know what? I don't think they even offer that burger anymore because nobody bought the damn thing.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm going to have to slide out, but I'll be dropping a video on my actual impressions
sliders and burgers.
Doctor Who very soon. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the stream. I will be listening to you, gentlemen, and I love you all. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, Culture.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. So anybody else got anything more to say about indoctrination?
Yes, I do. But before we do, let Mr. No, I have this is not about the show itself. This is about the media coverage surrounding it. So, Paul, let's have you go first.
I was just going to say that they could very well be correct because Eurovision has turned into a gay pride parade.
Oh, that's nothing new.
No, but it's really, I've never seen it quite like this. Even
Andre said, no, it's always been a gay pride parade.
Okay, it's true. Well, that's true. But now it's like it gets more and more gay pride for each passing year.
Well, even to the point where I saw this one straight female singer was dressed as unbelievably gay, like a gay male. In that stretchy outfit, in that skin color outfit. I'm going.
Oh, you should have seen the Australian contribution from a decade ago. I'll have to send you up with it.
Anyways, so
I mean, if you think that was something, then I got another to show you. Yeah,
it's gotten very flamboyant, and I could very well see that between the protesters of the war and the people who are watching the Eurovision contest and the people protesting the Eurovision contest, that there would be none of the modern audience available to watch Doctor Who. That's my only contribution.
Yeah. Well, I got another thing here. This is about the defense for Doctor Who. And it's one that I personally find very, very annoying. Because I did a video on Doctor Who yesterday that I would have dropped earlier today were it not for this. I'm just going to find it and share it here because this is an article that dropped over the weekend. And it raised a few eyebrows because the initial reading of it was, "Sorry, straight white man, Doctor Who was never made for you." That was the original headline, and that's basically everything is right there in the title. It's like, if you're white and you're straight and you're male, you're not welcome to see Doctor Who because it just wasn't for you. You just haven't noticed before. It was always super duper woke. Not in the olden days, because the author of this piece never saw any of the old stuff. As far as she's concerned, Doctor Who began in 2005. And from there, the wokeness was always there. It's just become a little bit more prevalent. So basically, if you have any issues, then shut up. That's kind of like what they're saying. But they got so much backlash over this article that they changed it. You can see that right there on the right side. It says updated May 13th, and the change is mostly in the headline because they got ratioed to hell and back again. They got community posted on X, and I believe that this publication, Metro Co UK's, that their entire presence on X was taken down for a while there in response to this community note, because they were literally racist. Because again, they say, sorry, straight white man, Doctor Who was never made for you. And then the change, the update was never made just for you. So that makes it a little bit better, I guess.
You know what I hate about this?
If you hit Control Plus, you can make the browser bigger. If you hit Control Plus, you can at least make what we're seeing bigger.
Yeah, well, let's try for that.
You're on a PC.
You know what bothers me most about this is that
help?
No. I can understand that a lot of this stuff came from an era when a lot of LGBTQ people and people who are not white, let's say, may not have had quote unquote voices in entertainment or in the writer's room or in whatever, the director's chair, in the main roles, whatever you want to put it. I'm not going to deny that's not a fact. But we have spent the better part of the last 40 or 50 years. In fact, Paul, you spent most of your existence fighting for the rights of other people. I know you've talked about it. I can only imagine some of the things that you've done as far as like the marches and the other protests and stuff that you've done over time.
Didn't need to fight for it in showbiz. I just want you to mention.
Well, that's a good point. Well, and that was something I was going to say. Showbiz has always been pretty inclusive, regardless of what's on the screen, right? Like one of the jokes I love to say is there's always been gay people making movies. In fact, 90% of the people making the movies are gay. Like, what the hell?
Randolph Scott.
We all know this.
But Cary Grant.
It's like they're acting like these things were done in a way that was like, how do I put this? It's almost like it was done against them in some way. It's like, no, it's not like Doctor Who was meant, it was like against gay people or against black people or against whatever. It's just that it wasn't what it was at the time, and nobody's saying you can't update it in some way, shape, or form. In fact, the Doctor's a great example. It's set up in a way where the Doctor will regenerate every so many years, so you can bring in a new actor. But the way they're throwing it in your face, the type of people that they're picking, the audience that they're going after is exactly what we were talking about earlier. And Andre finishing my analogy brilliantly, is that just that. It's like you're totally turning over your entire business to just get that small percentage of people on your side who are not going to give a shit anyway at the end of the day. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to become Doctor Who fans now because of this. They already were, or they're not going to be now because of it. That's the problem they're running into. And I've never been a huge Doctor Who fan, but I feel very bad for this group of people that are fans, because I'm looking at this stuff from the outside looking in going, God, I can't imagine if it's already bad enough on Discovery and some of the other stuff that we deal with. I can't imagine if they'd gone to this extent with some of the other stuff. Like, this stuff is just, it's almost like they're doing it on purpose to be spiteful at this point.
Yeah, more or less. There's absolutely something.
This is one where I can actually see where people are like, well, why would you do that? Like, this is like a Batwoman thing, right? It's almost like they have to do it now, where if they change anything, they have to admit defeat. I don't get it, because this has gone on long enough and far enough, and Doctor Who's a big deal. I can tell. I'm not going to sit here and shit on it or make fun of it, because I know I'll get roasted in the chat, and it's not like I have anything to make fun of. My point is just that it may not be my thing, but I can tell it's a lot of other people's thing. And a lot of people are upset about this. And every time something does happen, they get upset about it. And it's like the worst of the worst seems to keep happening to Doctor Who. So my thoughts and prayers are with those who are dealing with this shit right now, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, my favorite era was the Christopher Eccleston era. It's too bad he only did one season, and then things blew up.
Interesting is my understanding is that the chat will correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the current showrunner, the one who's kind of like ruined all of it, the David T. Russell, or whatever his name is, when he came in, that's when your favorite Doctor left because the two
Yes.
couldn't work together.
Correct.
And he is very public about what kind of an asshole this is and how bad he is for Doctor Who. I believe that history is now showing that Eccleston must have had a point. And when you look at the article we just said, because what that article did, it basically pointed out how much wokeness there has been for the entirety of the David Tennant, i.e., Russell T. Davis era. So I'm kind of like thinking that maybe that whole era, as popular as it was with the fans, was something akin to Star Wars The Force Awakens. What I mean by that is that people at the time when it came out didn't hate it. Many appreciated it
No,
for what
I
it
liked
was.
it.
And then it's only when you see what came of it that you then go back and you view it again, and that's when the cracks start appearing. Again, I'm just speculating here because I'm not into Doctor Who myself. The only Doctor Who I have ever seen is like that origin of the Daleks with like the third or the fourth Doctor or whatever it was, which I have to admit was pretty darn good.
I think the first Tennant era, if I remember correctly, and I didn't see every single episode, I think the hints were there, but they never went as far as correcting people with their pronouns. But they came close.
Oh, I think the hints started in the very first episode of the Eccleston stuff. The Mickey character was horribly written and annoying, and he was the boyfriend, the black boyfriend of Rose. I think that they did him a disservice because he didn't become a good character until, the Tennant era. He was annoying, he was whining, he was clingy. He was not representative of a very supportive or even interesting boyfriend where you would think someone like Rose would actually genuinely like him and not superficially.
I don't even remember him from the Eccleston era.
Exactly. That's how badly he was written.
Just Rose and him were fantastic. She was gorgeous. You know, it was a great run. He really put the drama and the pace into it. Everything was like hyped up and energetic. It was a really great.
And they took advantage of the technology to actually have fun with the special effects. They've never had the ability to do that before. But I will say this, like one of the key aspects of, the identity politics and the woke stuff is that they put in the characters that they think are unrepresented, but they also don't put any effort into them. They don't make them great. They don't make us want to actually watch these people. That is your key. That's your key identifier of whether something is woke or actually just genuinely having fun with a diverse character and giving us a character we can empathize, relate to, and want to watch. That red flag there was Mickey. I didn't equate it to a type of wokeism issue until after I learned that what wokeism was, which is about 6 or 7 years later, because it wasn't really in the lexicon at that time. It was just, oh, you hired this good-looking black guy to play the boyfriend of the character, but you make him a horrible character. That's insulting. Like, of course,
Well,
we're
they
gonna
did
want
a
to spend
horrible
more
job
time
with
with
the
the Doctor.
trans Rose in the
Yeah.
most recent run. Like that individual did nothing, added nothing
Mhm.
to the most recent run, like other than being there, standing as a prop.
Yeah, it's the ideological version of fridging. That was that term that was used in comic books, right? So that's what it is. You're just there. If you could replace them with a table lamp and nothing changes, they're not a useful character.
Is there is it because of their complete lack of ability to write decent stories, or is it because that is the thing that consumes them so much that they think by putting their heart on their sleeve that they've done the world a service?
That, in addition to the pandering nature, the desperation of just I want to appease these people so I have my angle in to get more work.
I'm not even thinking about that. Yeah, well, that's
But that's
interesting.
there now. Like it wasn't there too many years ago, but now it was a driving force for a while there between 2017 and 2022. Now it
Well,
seems to be fading out in some areas.
I think people have mistaken art and what art is. So in Toronto, we have, and I was part of the time when it started, something called Buddies and Bad Times Theater, which was, I think, the first openly gay theater in the city. And guy, what was his name? Can't remember his name. Was put on the craziest stuff, very akin to Waters. What was Waters' first name?
John Waters?
John Waters. So it was flamboyant and it was anarchic because it was different from all the straight stuff that was out there. But then eventually you become a parody of yourself. And I think that's what's happened, is that just like, look at Star Trek Discovery. Like, I don't care about hearing anybody's personal lives, whether they're straight, bi, trans, or whatever. I just don't care. I want the adventure, right?
Mhm.
And they're just so caught up in by revealing our truths, we're going to, imbue the world with our goodness and happiness.
And talk about their feelings as opposed to act them out, which is what
Correct.
good writing is you don't say, oh, I'm feeling sad. You're like, no, cry. Just cry on screen if you're sad.
Let's do
Show
it.
us why you're sad. That's what you got to do. Don't stop the story to be like, hey, are you okay? How's working at the academy? Oh, I've got this student. That's not a story. That's a setup to a conflict that you would do somewhere at the beginning, like in your opening teaser, like Beverly Crusher and Picard having tea in the morning, discussing like, oh, this is what we're gonna do. Oh, red alert! We've got a thing coming in. We got to stop this. It's like there's the minutia of this is day to day interrupted by work. Now it's work is interrupted by day to day, and that's horrible writing.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's completely dumb. I mean, I remember, what is it? One of the best episodes on Star Trek, the TNG, was when Data brought Worf in to dress him down.
Oh yeah, when
that was a fantastic scene. I remember it to this day because I went, wow, that was a bit of a shock.
That was that the two-parter where Picard poses as a smuggler and Riker
Yes.
gets kidnapped? Yeah.
And Data takes over running the vessel.
Yep. It's a good one. Yeah. Because you have the dressing down and it's like, this is the professional thing, but I still want our friendship to be there. And Worf's like, yeah, we're good.
And Worf being shocked that this automaton dressed him down.
That incidentally is an episode that every young professional in starting their career should be seeing.
I agree.
About how to act in a corporate setting.
I completely agree. You can't be friends with your employees.
Right. You can be friendly. You can be courteous.
Yeah.
But, you got it. There always has to be that separation because when it hits the fan, you got to buckle down and get it done. And you can't do that if you're friends.
And as a business person, you only have one goal. Do you know what that is? When I taught business at the college, this is the one question that stumped everybody. What's my goal as a business person? I only have one goal.
Make money.
No.
No? Oh, okay.
No. Anyone else?
I'll go for it.
Stay in business.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.